Hello, welcome back to the Goodness Margin, the place where we find margin for the good things in life. A question I get from you so often in so many ways is, how do I get my spouse on board when I want to minimize? So today we're talking about marriage and minimalism, and I have with me licensed therapists Adam and Carissa King. They have a wonderful podcast, Dear Young Married Couple, where they share all of this information with you. So this is part of our conversation. The last and final part is maintaining and sharing chores, household tasks. So how do I help my husband minimize his clothing? How to not hurt your husband's feeling when he makes messes. And some of these questions had some longer things attached to them, Maybe he wants to cook and he comes in the kitchen and sort of destroys it. Well, what do I do then? How to get your spouse on board to minimizing and organizing your home, maintaining it. How to get your husband to share in household tasks. What do you do when you feel like the only one who takes care of the house and does the chores? Mm-hmm. So now maybe you've minimized or he's agreed to do that. So how do you kind of help him along with those things? And then also with maintaining your house, you've decided this is how I now want to keep my home a certain way. Yep. But maybe I feel like I'm doing it all, or I know everything your dynamic is different.
Yes.
Yep. This is a big topic. Mm-hmm. This definitely goes back down to values and probably the way they see, like what they've seen growing up. Mm-hmm. Because this is very much attached to traditional versus egalitarian sort of style of marriage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Once upon a time, a man could make enough money a lot of times and go to work, and the wife watches the kids. He works a hard job, comes home tired, and she has everything ready. Like that's kind of like that American dream sort of thing.
Tradition.
Right. There's a lot of places now where it's a lot different now. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more opportunities open to women. Mm-hmm. Some places it's very expensive to live. So both incomes are needed.
And especially in the age of COVID, we have a lot of families working from home. And even if the wife or the husband is home with the kids, it doesn't mean that they've been just available to clean all day. They're working from home.
So I say all that to say that expectations around this subject have changed, or they could look different. Yeah. So the wife could want more egalitarian way of, working together on something. I'm not saying that if you're traditional in the way that you do things that the man doesn't help out, but like we have those typical, the guy takes care of the outside, the girl takes care of the inside, stay out of my domain, I'll stay out of yours sort of thing, but I'll still drop my socks in the middle of the floor. So I think right here, we need to probably go back down to, what are our roles?
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you see as my responsibility or responsibility? Where do you first learn this? Mm-hmm. How could I support you in what you do? Mm-hmm. And then hopefully all those questions are starting to be reciprocated on the other side. How can I support you? How can I be helpful to you? Mm-hmm. And then at that point, like once we kind of get that groundwork of like, what was it like growing up? Do you want to repeat that? Mm-hmm. Well, he might be totally cool with that. Like, but she like, I'm feeling very overwhelmed, and like, I know we might be feeling like we're going all over the place, but an overwhelmed woman is, it's very difficult for her to be intimate. Mm-hmm. Because she's caretaking.
Yeah.
So he might have frustrations in that area. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's where we could start talking about these needs that are being met. It's not like you scratch my back, I scratch my back. But when we're functioning as a team in all areas start to be fulfilled. So here are some of the ways that we can work together. And that's how a lot of times how it's brought up, like, hey, well, I'll do this if you do that. Sex isn't like that, right? We don't only if you do this, I do this, but they're all connected.
Right.
So having this broader conversation of like, okay, what were your values? Here I am with all this. I'm tired. I'm stressed out, trying to get all this stuff done. Then we can start getting down to how to solve for it.
Mm-hmm. And a really important question that you can ask when you're trying to work out household responsibilities and chores is, do we want our household responsibilities to be divided by need, skill, and or tradition?
Mm-hmm.
And so, for instance, so doing the bills, crunching the numbers. Okay. So in our household, both of us make the decisions about money. We do that jointly, but when it comes to actually paying the bills and doing the spreadsheets, that's more of my skill. So that's what I do that. It's not a matter of tradition. It's a matter of skill for us in that area.
All right. Thank God, because we'd be homeless if I had to do the bills.
And then like, okay, when it comes to doing certain things for our business, like editing, Adam's more skilled in that area. Mm-hmm. Now there might be like a season of need where, like say he's needed in another area. I can do some of that stuff for the business. So I will. So then we base that on need.
Well, I mean, just to get super, like we're big into systems. I'm trying to systematize practically everything. Mm-hmm. But as we're going through an interview, say we're interviewing someone, Chris is taking notes of the best clips, the things they say, and the timestamps. So once she has that, she sends it to her editor, and then I edit certain things and put them all together. And then, so we always are operating off of our skills or where we shine, which is probably the best.
We tend to do skill-based, right, in our household responsibilities. Sometimes it's need-based. No one's more skilled at changing a poopy diaper. Like, right? So sometimes
or at least you don't want to say that you are.
Right. I mean, both of us are just as capable. And so sometimes it's just a need. Like,
I'm convinced she is better at it than I am.
Hey.
That's very convenient.
Yeah. So, if he's trying to, help Adeline go potty in one bathroom, and then Forrest has a poopy diaper, then I'm going to change the poopy diaper. He's helping Addie go potty, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it's just a need. So what we're talking about is division of household tasks. That's one side of this whole section of questions that you posed. The other side of it is how to communicate effectively with your spouse when you have a need, when you want to address household tasks. And really what that's about is communicating with a soft startup, using communication skills that express your need assertively, but not aggressively, sharing what you want or need with respect and not a demand.
So now while you're feeling overwhelmed and frustrated after, you're doing something and saying, well, why am I the only one doing this? That's
yes.
approach.
Exactly.
I think the best approach in this area too is still setting a time. Like this is why we push date nights. So often we get a lot of this discussion, like, so how are we doing? Kind of our touching bases on like all the areas of our life. Where's the area in our life that's a bottleneck? Like we have all this potential up here, but it all comes down into a funnel. How can we open that funnel up a little bit more so that we could be more productive and more influential and more well-spoken and all these things, like more knowledge, like what needs to change in our lives so that we can get, be the people that God called us to be. So we work on that area and we talk about that. And if it's your house, then you have that conversation. If it's the division of labor and that's stressing someone out, that when you need to talk about it. Right.
I think that's where another plug for your card decks. We've been married 18 years now. And so you feel like we should know each other, and our communication, it's been a great 18 years. I feel very blessed with our marriage.
Yes.
But you think you know just about everything about someone. But we were doing the realizations one, where you talk about some things from your childhood or maybe some of your dreams, and not necessarily ones that were like directly related to ministry, which is where we have been together since the very beginning. We were very young and sort of just grew into that together. But we found some things out about each other. So opening up that communication where you're talking regularly, and those, if you are kind of trying to find a place to start, I think those cards are a great place. They give you questions, and well, I didn't make this up. I'm not like trying to pull this out of you. This is what the card says.
Yep.
Asking those questions. So then later you can communicate about division of chores or things like that.
Right.
Yep. And there's actually a division of chores question in the foundations deck and in the realizations deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think so much of this is about having a good marriage, and having a good marriage demands constant communication, because there's always something. If you have a shutdown communication or shut down communication in your life, then all of this stuff, whatever you're trying to solve for or fix or change, is going to be hard. But if you can work on, like you bringing up the cards, use the card, make that a common thing where you're talking about areas of your life. Like, where are you on this?
Yeah.
Do you need help? Do you need support? Are we doing good on this? Do you feel good? Do you feel, seen? If it's constant, these sort of conversations are not going to be uncommon. They will be common, and you'll get used to kind of, with these tools and these conversations and inside of your date nights, when it's away from the conflict, you can get so much done and change your marriage. But you have to begin making opportunities for this.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And I wrote down one of the things that you had mentioned is putting it on the calendar. So my husband is a very scheduled person. And when his Enneagram number is not naturally prone to that, but he used the full focus planner. I know that you're a fan of that. He used the full focus planner before I did. And he's like, you're the one talking about it. And he's been using it like way before I was.
Nice.
So if I want, like, it's the zone that we're deep cleaning is our master closet. And I feel like his sock drawer is a little overrun. And he sort of goes to if there's not a hole in it, then why would I get rid of it? Even if it's 12 or 15 pairs of black socks. So I want to go through that with him. I have learned in 18 years, and it may sound silly to some people, but I can't just be like, hey babe, let's go through the sock drawer now. That's not going to work.
Right.
I've got to email him and say, hey, what do you think about, like, next week? Do you have an hour to go through? Not necessarily an hour to go through the sock drawer, but and it may sound silly, but if we make time for that,
totally.
Then he knows that's what's happening, and
he prepares his mind for it. He knows I'm not going to go in there and say, I'm not getting rid of any socks. Like, he's preparing his mind knowing, oh, it's time to go through the sock drawer.
And he's very clear, because I know guys that I counsel will be like, well, stop looking at my sock drawer. That's my drawer. Stay out of it. But if you guys are on the same page and he knows that this is your strength, and that he's already benefited from different areas of the house being cleaned, then he'd be totally probably fine with you. Be like, these are the best. These 6 socks are in the best condition. You should never. One of these should be washed at all times, probably. So, and he'd be on board for you looking at it. So he's probably had to like work into that too, right?
Yes. And I color coordinate them, which I'm sure he probably really doesn't care that much about. But I do put them away, so it makes me happy when I put them away. But I think it's finding those things where that he's like, when his drawer is probably not going to look exactly like mine does.
Right.
It's not quite as important. And I can't put that expectation on him of, I expect you to put your sock, put it right in this perfect
areas of compromise right there. That's good.
So we have to realize that maybe my expectation is going to be different than his, and deciding how important that is.
Totally.
That's so good. You said area, like, or your expectations. So we like to point out in all of this that when you have different expectations or they're unspoken, that's the origin of frustration. So if you have broken or unmet expectations or unvoiced, you're frustrated.
Yeah.
So if there's a lot of frustration, then either you're voicing it and it's not being heard, or
you aren't voicing
you're
not doing anything with it, or you're not voicing it.
Hold on. Do you mean like husbands do not read their wives' minds? Is that what you're saying?
No, we're like completely.
Isn't that a new thought?
Wow. Yeah. No, this is really, really good. Absolutely. I can see why you guys are so good at what you're doing. I feel like, well, let me talk to you about this. This is something we love doing and helping couples become the best version of themselves they can, because that's the only way the kingdom is going to be advanced. Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. And I think that sometimes people are looking for a quick fix. Like, okay, I'm
Yeah,
asking
right.
this question. So like, what do I need to do so that tomorrow my husband's 10 collections are down to one, or, we've got all of a sudden things are super organized. But it really does come down to that relationship and communication. And if this is your goal, is for your
Mhm.
house to be organized and minimized, if you go about it the way that you guys are recommending, your marriage is going to be better for it, because you're obviously
Mhm.
working on
Yes.
that communication part of it.
Yes.
Yes. It's something I heard because we're getting ready for a seminar on parenting and family that I heard someone say. They said, you need to have a balance between discipline and fun.
Mm-hmm.
If all your conversation is we're not doing things right, when you get better, but there's never that fun date nights or stuff like that.
Mhm.
Like, of course, there's going to be like mistrust, and you're always trying to change me, and you're pushing me out of shape and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's that balance, then it's easier for me to like, yeah, I trust you. Like,
Mhm.
do
Yeah,
what you need in this area. So
absolutely.
that might also, if there's a big, huge block there, maybe there isn't enough um, fun or
Mhm.
intimacy created or time for you guys connecting.
Mhm.
That might
Yeah.
also be somewhere that you have to look.
That could definitely be your first step for people who are asking, like, how do I help my husband get rid of this? Or how do I convince him? Your first step might just be connect with him.
Mm-hmm.
It might have nothing to
Yeah.
do with minimalism. It might just be go cuddle on the couch.
Yeah.
Like that could be your first step. If you're not connected, he's not going to want to be on
Show
board with
your
what you're doing.
approval, your appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a big deal for a man and a
Mhm.
woman.
Yeah.
And your expectation of what is fun, because I enjoy organizing, and like a day of us like decluttering together, that sounds great. That is not like, he wants me to stop what I'm doing because I'm kind of go, 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 go. He wants me to
Right.
stop
Uh-huh.
what I'm doing and just sit on the couch. And
Mhm.
so we've had to make those expectations clear. Okay, this is fun
Yep.
to me, but that is not fun to him. And
That's
so I'm
good.
Mhm.
just gonna, sometimes I just need to sit still, and
Yep.
that's what he wants to do. So
Mhm.
absolutely, yeah, that's right on target. And I know that we can all, even if we're listening to this or watching this and thinking, oh, well, I already do some of those things, I know that I've definitely heard some areas that, okay, I need to work to improve and to do better and be more consistent in these areas. These
That's
are
awesome. Yes.
fantastic tips.
Well,
Well,
thank you.
thank you guys so much. And again, anybody who's watching, these are anything that Adam and Carissa have shared, I have heard has greatly benefited me. And even if it's not something that directly our marriage has gone through, I feel like it's something good to have in my tool belt to help a friend or someone that we pastor down the road. So
Mhm.
I'm so thankful that you guys are kind of opening this gate to talk about a lot of things that people don't want to talk about,
Aw.
because they're uncomfortable, but it's needed. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
It's our
Thanks so
pleasure.
much for having us on. We love what you're doing. And man, it's needed. We need more organization and peace at our homes.
It's fun to team up with professionals like you helping us
Yep.
in areas that we're not strong. So
Exactly.
thank you.
We've gleaned a lot from you, Shelley. We've organized the kids' toys and got rid of appliances in our kitchen that we hadn't used in years. And I'm grateful for your influence in
She
our
went through a
home.
whole bunch of cupboards the other day and got like, made it all look good. I'm like, yeah, go babe. You're awesome.
Well, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to share with us today.
Oh, thank you.
Our pleasure.
Thank you for joining us today in this conversation. This is just one part of this conversation. And if you have not got to see the rest of these videos, you can find those links in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel, click the bell so you can be notified when the next video goes live.